team and Scott Goodyear. They will part and go separate ways next season, but he is having a great run this afternoon.
He is a super racing driver. Canadian that was, by the way, the driving instructor for Paul Tracy years ago. Here comes Fittipaldi once again. Not a fight for position, just a fight for Goodyear in his lap, which is so important to him.
Oh, side by side above 220 miles an hour with confidence that you know your opposition and you can run side by side with confidence. Goodyear with the Ford engine comes up behind Emerson, but then you see Emerson stretch it as he goes through the banks of turns 3 and 4.
I saw one look like a pretty good bottom at the back of Goodyear's car going into that corner as well.
We've seen a lot of that this afternoon, and I couldn't decide whether it was just a surface change that's got white marks on it or whether it was actually a fairly heavy bottoming.
At the Marlboro 500 with 206 laps of the 250 lap scheduled distance of 500 miles. Raul Boesel is the leader of the race. This car, Unser Jr, is trying to chase him down. We have just 44 laps to go on an afternoon that has been punctuated by 7 different yellow flags. Robbie Gordon, the first to go yellow when he blew a tire, fell way back in the field, was able to keep the car going, and then was able to come back up to the front until finally he was out of the race totally. Nigel Mansell was leading. He's out of the race with a butterfly that's stuck in the engine. Michael Andretti was leading. He caught the wall. We've had a long, hard afternoon, and that's what the Michigan 500 is all about. Raul Boesel is now 2.3 seconds out in front of his nearest competitor, the Indy 500 champion, Unser Jr.
And we know from what Dick Simon told us that the longer Boesel runs on a tank of fuel, the handling goes away. He gets the dreaded push. Unser Jr. may know that because he chased him for so long the last time. But right now we have Ford versus Ilmor. A lot of people believe here that the Ford has more horsepower here than the Ilmor, but very few people...
Fittipaldi, and that looks like a motor.
That is an engine. Very few people would argue that the Penske goes through corners here better than everybody.
Roger Penske getting the word. Now he'll relay on. He should be on the radio only with Little Al, though I assume Roger can slip over and cover any channel. But if you're talking about the power plant battle that we talked about at the start of the day, there's an Ilmor.
Now this is terminal. When you see smoke like that, you immediately see the driver unbuckle his belts because he probably heard the dreaded mechanical mix-up of the engine parts, and now it's all over.
So out of third place, Emerson Fittipaldi won his first race here in the IndyCars in 1985. Was that speed chasing Teo Fabi, and just that quickly it's over.
Look at the Pac West car just ducks away from that oil smoke being thrown out by Fittipaldi, but one of Al Jr.'s championship contenders falls by the wayside.
Yeah, let us do consider the championship points and what that does with Michael Andretti out, now Fittipaldi out. In the race there are 10 cars, so Fittipaldi can still pick up a point or two depending on how the rest of this race runs, but it's going to adversely affect both their runs in the championship. Little Al is still in this fight, and he is whittling away on Raul Boesel. Willie T. Ribbs in for a stop.
Now as we watch Willie T, it is a terrific two-way fight. Scott Goodyear now moves up to third place. Emerson hasn't dropped off the leaderboard yet, but that now elevates Dobson, Lyondike, Fabi, Mark Smith, Matsushita, and Willie T. Ribbs here are all in the top 10, and they all benefit from Emerson's troubles.
So Willie T. in 10th place back into the fight. Chuck Sprague talks with his driver, Emerson Fittipaldi. Sprague, who has been fairly vocal lately, he was quite angry when it was suggested that Robbie Gordon said that the Penske team had tractor control. Sprague's a proud man. Says, we don't have it, we wouldn't do it. We follow the rules.
Quick update on speed of the leading cars. Boesel's last lap, 226.6. Al Jr., 226.5. They are almost perfectly matched at the moment.
Jan Bikus, you have Emerson now?
Yes, we are standing by with Emerson. Emerson, you're so close to the end. Was it the engine let go?
Yeah, that's a shame. The car was really handled well. I was a little stuck in the last restart, but I was able, if I would pass far they would catch Junior. My car was flying.
Now tell me, we are close to the end of the race. We know you run a 5th and a 6th gear. Had you already gone to 5th to try and run them down, or were you in 6th?
No, I was going to go 6th now. On the restart, I was in 5th.
So now, what do you say to Al Jr. because he's near the end, he's close to the lead. Would you now advise him with your engine not to go down to 5th gear to try and run down Boesel?
That doesn't make any difference. Only 100 revs different.
Okay. Thank you, Emerson.
Emerson Fittipaldi, no advice for Al Unser Jr. Let him drive his own race. The gearing between 5th and 6th. It's really more a wind condition kind of gearing than anything else, wouldn't it be, Derek?
Yes, indeed. Sometimes they call it a cruiser gear, but with 100 revs difference, you can just get into a different power band. But Unser Jr. is beginning to turn it up on Junior, because look at that last lap above 227 miles an hour. As the laps go on, they still get even faster.
It brought him 0.3 of a second closer to this man, Raul Boesel. And very definitely in contact, and the battle for the lead is on again.
And 2 years ago, we all remember Boesel literally in tears at the Indianapolis 500 when he believed he had everything he needed to win the race. He was penalized and he was taken out of the fight. He was in tears because he believed that should have been his race. Now he is in the fight of his life with Al Jr.
So little Al closes last lap 227.8 compared to Boesel's 226.9. The EDS scoring system continuing to give us speeds lap after lap and helping track the closure.
This is Al Unser Jr.'s favorite chassis. Shelley continues to take notes on times and gaps. But this is Al Unser Jr.'s favorite car he's in. Chassis number 007. Yes, this was the same car that he won the Indianapolis 500 with.
Dick Simon and his son talk over strategy for this car. Raul Boesel, they are not in contact. Very, very careful to keep track of the cars on the course while we watch some of this pit action as well. You don't want to cover one with the other. We'll be back with more right after this. Today at 5:30 p.m. Eastern here on ESPN, the Senior PGA Northville Long Island Classic from Meadowbrook Club in Jericho, New York. Lee Trevino and Jay Siegel are tied at 9 under. They're playing for a purse of $650,000. The Senior PGA today on ESPN at 5:30 Eastern. Moving to the closing laps now of the Marlboro 500 at Michigan. 222 laps are complete. The final pit stops due just any time now, probably within the next 4 laps. Al Unser Jr. trying to close on Raul Boesel. He got to about a minute or a second and a half behind Raul, and then kind of just got stopped right there, Jan Vikas. What do you expect?
Well, we will see Al Unser Jr. here in 4 laps, Paul. Well, now they're just giving me the signal. 3 laps for Al Unser Jr. I checked in with Richard Buck, who's the crew chief for Al Jr. I said, are you running flat out? He says, no. What we're doing, we're just keeping Raul in sight, and we hope to put him in front because of a quicker pit stop. Gary, you got more?
Well, indeed we do, because they're plotting strategy down here, and it involves a somewhat complicated change. They're gambling a bit, the Dick Simon crew, because they say now that they're going to make an adjustment on the balance of the car. They may sacrifice and not change the left front tire.
Whoa, what happened
Boesel
here?
is sewing.
Raul Boesel slows down, and all of a sudden, Dick Simon's on the radio to him. He's listening. Smoke at the back of the engine.
It's over.
Oh, no.
Unbelievable. Your words were just expressed again by Dick Simon. Boesel's day looks like incredibly it's over.
Ford Cosworth power plant. We've seen an Ilmore go in the last few laps in Fittipaldi's hands. We now see this one. Al Unser Jr. picks up the lead with his Ilmore. And a fire, that's a turbocharger fire in the back. They should be able to spray that right out.
Yeah, but the reason that catches fire is because there's lots of oil in there, and Boesel is probably on the radio right now to Dick, telling him the noises that he heard on that back straight, and this is terminal. Boesel is probably close to tears.
If a man ever deserved to win,
But Al Jr. was turning the heat up because Al Jr. had just turned the fastest lap of the race 2 laps earlier, above 229 miles an hour. He's close to tears, this man.
So Raul Boesel unstraps and climbs out at the Marlboro 500. Once again, it will not be Dick Simon's day. Gary Gerald.
Well, we're trying to get position in the chaos here because they were throwing a lot of equipment. Dick Simon, I hate to ask you, but what is the emotion right now? Because I know that disappointment just must retch through your body.
It really does. We just lost an engine, Gary.
Oh, my.
You know, it's a shame because 3 or 4 times this year we should have done good. And the car was good, needed a couple of minor changes, but I think we would have went on to win.
You had all their respect today. I know that. Let's go to Jan.
Well, while you have the disappointment there, Gary, you have the elation here. Unser Jr. in for his final stop. Man, that was quick. Unser Jr., boy, I haven't seen a quicker stop here today. And, of course, they didn't really need it now with Boesel dropping out.
12 seconds for Al Unser Jr.'s stop. Routine and smooth. That brings Scott Goodyear into second place.
How close do you have to come? But look now what happens here. Scott Goodyear is in second place. If anything should happen to Al Unser Jr., Goodyear, who is now on the lead lap, brings his car down for the last pit stop. But I have to just tell you, I feel so badly for Dick Simon. We clearly heard there the man could hardly speak, and Boesel wonders what you have to do to try and finally win.
His only victory has come here. Scott Goodyear makes his final stop of this Marlboro 500. Let's go to Gary.
He throws the water bottle out of the cockpit. Chris Griffiths and the company complete the tire change. Still not done with the fueling. That's a little surprising. Now they're ready to roll. 16 plus seconds, Paul.
The gravity flow that the Indy cars use takes a little longer. The fuel goes down in the tank. Al Unser Jr. is the leader. Raul Boesel's clear of his car. And little Al is now a full lap ahead of second place Scott Goodyear. Dominic Dobson in third place. What a great run for Pac West. Arie Luyendyk in fourth. So we said there are some surprises here. Some interesting names at the top of the order.
And Michael Andretti made the classic comment before this race ever started. This historically is survival of the fittest.
There's Dominic Dobson and Arie Luyendyk in what is a fight for position. Luyendyk started 26, and Little Al's in trouble. Little Al's in trouble.
Scott Goodyear is about to lead this race.
We suggested that if Fittipaldi had the problem, could Al have it too? The Ilmore has let go now in Little Al's car. Here with just 20 laps to go. The lead changes, then changes again as the leaders fall out.
How can you absorb the emotional roller coaster here? Al Jr. was almost a lap down at Indy, and Emerson blew up and handed it to him. Listen to the crowd scream at the changes.
And we go yellow. They go to a full course yellow. Apparently they're worried about oil on the track when Little Al's engine let go. So Scott Goodyear will assume the lead. This man, Dominic Dobson, will go into second place. Arie Luyendyk, who started back in 28th, runs in third. Teo Fabi is up to fourth. Mark Smith is up to fifth. The yellow flag comes out. Let's go to Gary.